guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. I'm doing something fun. I've started a little series called One Letter Looks where I do an eyeshadow look only using eyeshadows which start with the same letter. So for this holiday season, I'm spelling out the word holidays. I've already done a look using H shadows, O, and L. All of these eyeshadows start with the letter I. If you want to see how I did this and what palettes I used because I love it so much, then stick around. If you want to see H, O, and L, those are linked down below in the description box along with everything else. My name is Rachel. I enjoy eyeshadow. I upload several videos every week. Let's get going with this one. If you've been following along, you'll know that I have 6 palettes that I can use today. I do not have to use every palette, and I do not have to use every eye-named shadow that I could choose from. This is just the pool of palettes and then the pool of shadows that I can use. So I'm going to go through each of these palettes and I'm going to swatch the eye shades. And once I've got them all laid out in my arm, then I'll be able to decide what color story I want to actually focus on today. First we have Quintessence from Sydney Grace and Temptalia. The eye shade in here is called Interstellar. There's just that one. It's a deep teal matte. Next I've got the Envy palette from Ace Beauté. There is an eye shade called Illusion, which is a green shimmer. And that's it. Look at how that's swatched. Also, there is no chance that these are not going to stay in my arm. Especially that one. The Earthy 42 from Beauty Bay. I'm expecting there to be more than one, but let's look. We have Ivy. Just one. Just Ivy. One of my all-time favorite palettes, Sea Talk from Oden's Eye. The eye shade in here is called Iridescent Shell. This is a beautiful multichromatic topper shade. It's so pretty. Wilderness from Beauty Bay. This one might also have the Ivy shade. Yeah, it does. Oh, I didn't consider that. I should have known because I knew that the 42 from Beauty Bay has Ivy and Raw. There are several of the green, brown, red shades in 42 which are in Wilderness. So I have Ivy twice, and there's no other eye shade in this palette. Okay, hold that thought. We have the Christmas Eve from Oden's Eye. The eye in here is called Ice Crystal, but it is a really light, silvery, gray matte. You can't see it at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do because of the Wilderness palette, I'm going to go back to my list. I've been highlighting the palettes that I have actually used and the ones that I haven't used per day. I'm just putting off to the side. There'll be pull-in palettes for exactly this kind of situation where I may have made a mistake, accidentally wrote down a palette twice or whatever. So I'm going to go grab one of those that has an eye in it and I'll be right back. There were actually only 2 palettes in my entire collection that I hadn't yet designated to a letter and had an eye. So I pulled the Nouveau palette from ABH. There is a shade in here called Isle. I way over swatched that shade and it was like packed onto my fingertip. All right, here's my color story. So it's really pretty. It's a really pretty color story. I actually really love the way that the shimmers play together and the way that they play off of the mattes, and I have darker mattes with lighter shimmers. I'm a fan. This is a beautiful color story. You can't see this one right here. This is the one from the Christmas Eve palette. Like I said, it's just a gray matte, honestly. It's got a little bit of cool silvery blue. My camera cut out on me, but I was basically saying that I think this color story is very, very pretty. I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go with it. I could obviously play into my shirt, but that's kind of boring. I'm not sure. It's beautiful. I really like this color story. I also really liked yesterday's color story. Let me prime my eyes and zoom you guys in and we'll get going and do something. I used the Glamlight Icing Primer. I used the shade Buttercream. Everything I'm using is down below in the description box. It's all linked unless it's unavailable, in which case it's just noted. I actually want this look to be kind of light, and that's a bit laughable given the color story and the intensity of those 2 deep mattes, but I'm gonna try anyway. Usually I start with, this is the gray from Christmas Eve. Usually I start with the deepest in the outer corner and I create the look from there, you know, go from the deepest in the outer corner over to the light inner corner, and then I often use that inner corner shade to blend out the outer corner. But because I want this look to be quite a bit lighter than I typically go, I think just a slightly softer color scheme, if that's at all possible given my color story. What I'm doing is I'm filling the whole crease with this transition color. This is creating a nice even wash of that softer color. And then from here, I will just deepen the space I want to deepen. All right, I'm going into a much smaller blending brush and the deep teal matte. It's called Interstellar, and it's from the Quintessence palette from Sydney Grace. I'm going in very, very lightly. And just gonna deepen this outer area. I'll try to control the color, try not to make it too intense or wild. I just want it to be a bit more tame today. But that, how beautiful is that? Those two colors together, delicious. I'm moving at a decent clip today. I have limited time, and my two littlest ones are upstairs. They're supposed to be napping. I'm pretty sure the toddler is not napping. She's supposed to be napping, but more than that, they're both a tiny bit under the weather, especially the baby. She's been a little bit sick for about 2 days, and she just needs to rest. So currently they're both resting, if not napping, and I don't know when the baby's gonna wake up. But when she wakes up, she's less interested in play and more interested in, I need mommy right now, so hashtag worth it. I have kind of a different plan for the lower lash line, but I love these colors together so much. I might change my mind. Let's move on. I'm picking up the shade Iridescent Shell with my finger, and I'm gonna lay that on all of the lid space. All of the lid space that doesn't currently have dark teal matte. That's beautiful. This color story right here actually reminds me of the Sea Talk palette in general. Do you see it? Just these soft, oceany blue-green kinds of tones. Stunning. This Sea Talk palette was when Lauren May Beauty collaborated with Oden's Eye, and I did not watch Lauren May's channel ever, actually. I'd seen a few of her videos, but I didn't follow her channel regularly, and recently I've started watching more of her content. She does a lot more with luxury brands, but I like her personality, and if nothing else, the palette has sold me on watching her videos and very much enjoying her eye looks. Okay, now I will take the Envy palette. I almost said R. The Envy palette. Shadow is called Illusion, and I'm just tapping that right here on the edge of Iridescent Shell into the mattes. Just a little bit of the blue-green. I don't want this to be the focal point in the look. I don't want to overwhelm anything else with this color because it's intense. Okay, that's beautiful, but you can see that Iridescent Shell needs to be smudged back over a bit, reclaim some of its territory, and the shimmers are almost all the way to the outer corner. So I'm going to go back into my matte brush, the little one and Interstellar, and just tap some of that matte back in place. I don't like it when the shimmer goes all the way to the outer corner. I do want this area to be matte. Absolutely lovely. On the lower lash line, I'm gonna lay down this gray matte again, all the way to the inner corner. This is gonna bring very little to my lower lash line. It will just brighten it up a bit. And I'm trying to decide if I want to pair it with the tealy bluey green shades again and just kind of echo on the lower area what I did above, or if I want to do something different. I was going to pair it with the gold shimmer from Nouveau, but I don't love, typically, to have my lower lash line a totally different color than the upper area. I really do. I am finding that I prefer there to be more cohesion throughout the whole look. I like the color to just wrap around the eyes and then have something different maybe in the inner corner. I don't want the gold shimmer as an inner corner. I actually am just going to continue dipping into this gray and use that on my inner corner to lighten the space. That's so beautiful though. All right, so I'm gonna grab Ivy, the dark green matte, and put this just in my outer corner of the lower lash line. I wasn't planning on using this shade at all, but I want to bring a smidge more of a foresty green into the look, just to play into my shirt. I'm sorry if you can't see that very well. This palette is the size of Canada, and I don't want to block the camera with it. Okay, just for kicks and just because it's fun, I am going back into iridescent shell with a very, very small blending brush. After it's loaded on the brush, I will spray it to control fallout and basically make it so that it applies exactly where I put it and nowhere else. This is a bit of a flaky shade and it doesn't pick up great on a brush, so I want to make sure I can control it. I'm leaving my inner corner clear, just keeping that pastel matte, but I'm going to drag this iridescent shell on the lower lash line to meet the other darker mattes. I think that's beautiful, and I really can't stop thinking that it looks so much like this palette. Like the palette itself and the color story within. I feel like I could pretty much get this look just from this palette because we have a dark blue, we have the greenish shimmer, we have the shell shimmer that I did actually use. The only thing this palette doesn't offer is a gray. But the gray is not a prominent color in the look, it was just a transition. This is beautiful. Love the palette. I'll be right back. Okay, you have to tell me what you think. Let me tell you what I think. I absolutely love this. I can't stop thinking that this is like the whole Sea Talk palette in one eyeshadow look. If you didn't have the gray transition tone, you could have used the cool toned brown in just a really light quantity. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. I love the way that the Oden's Eye shimmers are just like hyper sparkly and reflective, but not heavy feeling. I say this all the time. I know I say it all the time. I hope you know what I mean when I say that. They remind me of the Adept shimmers as well. This is beautiful. I'm a big fan. If I could go back and redo it, I would probably do the green matte instead of the blue matte, just to tie in a little bit more to my shirt, but no complaints at all. No complaints at all. In my waterline, I did use a dark green for that exact purpose. This is the shade Canopy from ColourPop, and then I just have some mascara on. That's it. I actually have been forgetting about eyeliner lately. Maybe it's because I'm on a bit of a time crunch, but there's no eyeliner, it's just mascara. On my lips, I have this Italia Deluxe lip liner in the shade Natural Beige, followed by the NYX Butter Gloss in the color Eclair. And then on my face, I have blush from my Frosé, from my Tarte Blush palette, and highlighter from my BH Frosé palette. So that's everything. Do tell me what you think. I can't wait to go through the rest of my day with this eyeshadow look. I think it's fantastic. I'm so excited by it, and I love the fact that it was created with shadows that all start with the letter I. I am so loving this challenge. This is such a fun way to shop my stash, to see everything I own, to play with everything I own. I'm loving this. Remember to check the carded video above if you want to see how I designated which palettes for which letters. It's all in this video right here, so I don't take up the time in these videos to tell you about that. Do check the description box for H, O, and L. I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!